The morning sun cast long shadows across Lincoln High School's football field, as hundreds of white plastic chairs sat in perfect rows. Today was the day everyone had been waiting for, graduation day. The air buzzed with excitement as families found their seats, cameras ready, and graduates lined up in their caps and gowns behind the gym. But for 17-year-old Amy Chen, the excitement felt different. She sat in her wheelchair at the end of the front row, watching her classmates chat and laugh together. The burgundy graduation gown draped over her chair, and her cap sat perfectly straight on her long black hair. She had worked hard for this moment, really hard. 4 years of late-night studying, extra credit projects, and pushing herself to excel in every subject. Her GPA was 3.8, and she had already been accepted to State University for computer programming. Yet here she was, alone. Amy adjusted her glasses and looked around at the other graduates. There was Jessica, the head cheerleader, taking selfies with her squad. Over there was Tom, the class president, surrounded by his basketball teammates. Everyone seemed to have their group, their people, their place. Amy had none of that. It wasn't that her classmates were mean to her. They weren't. Most of them were actually pretty nice when they talked to her in class. But that was just it. They only talked to her in class. When the bell rang, they moved on to their friends, their plans, their world that somehow never included her. From the parent section, Dr. Lisa Chen watched her daughter with a heavy heart. As the CEO of a successful tech company, Lisa was used to solving problems. She could handle million-dollar deals, difficult employees, and company crises without breaking a sweat. But this? Watching her brilliant, kind, funny daughter sit alone on what should be the happiest day of her high school career? This broke her in ways that no business challenge ever could. Lisa remembered Amy's first day of high school 4 years ago. Amy had been so excited talking about all the friends she would make and the clubs she would join. She had signed up for the computer club, the debate team, and even tried out for the academic bowl. Amy was accepted to everything she applied for. Her teachers loved her sharp mind and quick wit. But somehow, the friendships never came. The other parents around Lisa chatted excitedly about graduation parties and summer plans. Mrs. Wilson, sitting next to her, was busy taking pictures of her son with his girlfriend. "Oh, they're so cute together," she whispered to Lisa. "They're going to the same college, too. Young love, you know?" Lisa nodded and smiled politely, but inside she felt that familiar ache. Amy had never mentioned a boyfriend. She had never asked to go to parties or sleepovers. Lisa had offered to let Amy have friends over countless times, but Amy always said she had too much homework or wasn't feeling up to it. The truth was, there weren't really friends to invite over. Amy pulled out her phone and scrolled through her social media feeds. Her timeline was full of graduation posts from her classmates, group photos, family pictures, excited captions about the future. She thought about posting something herself, but realized she didn't have any group photos to share. Just pictures her mom had taken of her in her cap and gown that morning. She put her phone away and looked up at the sky. It was a perfect day for graduation, sunny but not too hot, with a gentle breeze that made the flags flutter above the ceremony area. The school band was warming up, playing bits and pieces of the graduation march. Soon she would roll across that stage, shake the principal's hand, and receive her diploma. 4 years of hard work would officially come to an end. Amy had always been good at putting on a brave face. She had learned early that people felt uncomfortable when they saw her being sad or frustrated. So she smiled. She participated in class discussions. She helped other students with their homework when they asked. She played the role of the happy, well-adjusted student who just happened to use a wheelchair. But inside, she often wondered what it would feel like to have someone her age genuinely excited to see her. What would it be like to have inside jokes with a best friend? Or to be included in plans without having to invite herself? She watched other kids complain about drama with their friend groups and couldn't help but think she would gladly take some friend drama over no friends at all. The assistant principal's voice came over the microphone, asking everyone to take their seats. The ceremony was about to begin. Amy straightened up in her chair and put on her best smile. This was her big moment, and she was going to be proud of what she had accomplished, even if she had to celebrate it alone. As the graduates began filing onto the field in alphabetical order, Amy watched the families in the stands cheer for their kids. She spotted her mom in the crowd and gave her a small wave. Dr. Chen waved back enthusiastically, her phone ready to record every second of Amy's walk across the stage. Well, roll across the stage. Amy had practiced this moment in her head 100 times. She would approach the ramp they had set up on the side of the stage. Roll up smoothly, shake hands with Principal Martinez, take her diploma with her right hand while keeping her left hand steady on her wheelchair, smile for the photographer and exit on the other side. Simple, dignified, quick. The valedictorian gave his speech about friendship, memories, and the bright future ahead. Amy listened politely, but the words about all the amazing friendships we've built and the memories we'll cherish forever felt like tiny knives. She was happy for her classmates, truly she was. But hearing about all these wonderful high school experiences that she had never been part of made her chest feel tight. When they started calling names, Amy's brow began to move. She was 7th in line. Chen came pretty early in the alphabet. As she waited her turn, she could hear families cheering wildly for each graduate. Some parents were crying, others were whistling and shouting. Everyone seemed to have their own personal cheering section. Amy knew her mom would cheer for her too. Dr. Chen had never missed a single one of Amy's achievements, from science fair wins to honor roll ceremonies, but it would just be her mom's voice in the crowd. No friends, no extended family, just her mom doing her best to make enough noise for 10 people. Amy Chen. This was it. Amy rolled forward toward the ramp, her heart beating fast. She could hear her mother's proud voice calling her name from somewhere in the crowd. As she approached Principal Martinez, he gave her a warm smile and bent down slightly to shake her hand at her level. "Congratulations, Amy. We're going to miss having you here," he said quietly, so only she could hear. Amy smiled back genuinely for the first time all day. "Thank you, Principal Martinez, for everything." She took her diploma, posed for the photographer, and rolled toward the exit ramp. As she made her way back to her seat, she allowed herself to feel proud. She had done it. Despite everything, despite the loneliness and the challenges, she had graduated with honors. That had to count for something, but as she settled back into her spot at the end of the row, watching the ceremony continue around her, Amy couldn't shake the feeling that something was missing from this moment that was supposed to be perfect. She just didn't know that in a few minutes everything was about to change. 3 rows behind Amy, a man named David Thompson sat watching the graduation ceremony with a mix of pride and sadness. His son Tyler had just walked across the stage, and David had cheered louder than anyone else in their section. But as he looked around at all the families celebrating together, he couldn't help but feel the empty space next to him where his wife should have been sitting. It had been 2 years since Rachel passed away from cancer, and David still caught himself looking for her at moments like these. She would have loved seeing Tyler graduate. She would have been the one crying happy tears and taking a million pictures. Instead, it was just David and Tyler's little sister Mia, who was trying her best to stay excited despite missing her mom on such an important day. David worked as a mechanic at Johnson's auto shop downtown. He wasn't wealthy like some of the other parents here, but he had raised his kids with love and taught them to notice when others needed kindness. Rachel had always been the one to spot the kid sitting alone at the playground or the elderly person struggling with groceries. Now David tried to carry on that tradition, though he wasn't always as good at it as she had been. As the ceremony continued, David found his attention drawn to a girl in a wheelchair at the end of the front row. She was clapping politely for each graduate, but something about her body language made David pause. He had learned to read people pretty well over the years. Working with customers all day taught you to notice when someone was putting on a brave face. The girl seemed genuinely happy for her classmates, but there was something lonely about the way she sat there. While other graduates were whispering jokes to each other or making faces at their families in the crowd, she just sat quietly, watching everything unfold around her. David nudged Mia gently. "Hey, see that girl in the wheelchair down there? In the front row?" Mia, who was 11 and noticed everything, followed his gaze. "Yeah, the one with the long black hair. She looks sad." "I was thinking the same thing," David said quietly. He watched as the girl checked her phone and then put it away quickly, like she was hoping for a message that never came. When Tyler had started high school 4 years ago, David remembered worrying about whether his son would find good friends. Tyler was naturally outgoing and had been lucky. He'd connected with a small group of kids who shared his love of skateboarding and video games. But David knew not every kid was that fortunate. The principal was now giving his closing remarks, talking about the bright futures ahead and the importance of staying connected to the Lincoln High School family. David could see parents around him getting their cameras ready for the final moment, when all the graduates would throw their caps in the air. As the ceremony ended, and caps flew through the air like confetti, families began rushing toward the field to find their graduates. David watched as groups of friends hugged and laughed together, already making plans for the rest of the day. He saw Tyler get swept up by his buddies, all of them talking excitedly about their graduation party later that night. But the girl in the wheelchair remained in her spot, slowly gathering her things while the chaos swirled around her. David saw a well-dressed woman, probably her mother, making her way down from the stands toward her. The woman's face showed the same mix of pride and concern that David recognized from his own parenting moments. "Dad, can we go find Tyler now?" Mia asked, tugging on his sleeve. "In just a minute, sweetheart," David said. Something was pulling at him, the same feeling he got when he saw a car broken down on the side of the road. Rachel had always said he couldn't drive past someone who needed help, and maybe that's what this was. He watched as the girl's mother reached her and bent down to give her a hug. They talked for a moment, and David could see the mother's eyes scanning the crowd, probably hoping to see some friends coming over to celebrate with her daughter. But no one came. David made a decision that surprised even him. "Come on, Mia, let's go say hello to someone." "To who?" Mia asked, confused. "That girl I pointed out earlier. I think she could use some friendly faces right about now." They made their way through the crowd of celebrating families. As they got closer, David could hear the girl talking to her mother about where they had parked and whether they should head home soon. Her voice was cheerful enough, but David's trained ear caught the forced brightness in it. When they were a few feet away, David cleared his throat softly. "Excuse me," he said with a warm smile. Both the girl and her mother looked up, clearly surprised that strangers were approaching them. "Hi there," David continued. "I'm David, and this is my daughter Mia. My son Tyler just graduated too." He gestured toward where Tyler was still celebrating with his friends. "I couldn't help but notice that you're sitting here and, well..." He paused, suddenly feeling a bit awkward about his impulse. "This might sound strange, but I was wondering if you'd like to take some pictures with us. It's such a big day and everyone should have some celebration photos." The girl stared at him for a moment, clearly not expecting this kind of offer from a complete stranger. Her mother looked equally surprised but touched by the gesture. "I'm Amy," the girl said slowly, "and this is my mom, Dr. Chen." She looked between David and Mia, trying to figure out if this was some kind of prank or charity case situation. "That's really nice of you to offer, but you don't have to do that." "I know I don't have to," David said gently. "But I'd like to. Graduation is a huge accomplishment, and it should be celebrated properly." Mia, who had inherited her mother's natural warmth, stepped forward. "I think your cap looks really cool. Did you decorate it yourself?" Amy touched the small decorations she had glued to her graduation cap, tiny computer chips and coding symbols that represented her love of programming. "Yeah, I did. Thanks for noticing. That's so creative," Mia said genuinely. "I bet you're really smart." For the first time all day, Amy's smile looked completely real. "I try to be." Dr. Chen watched this interaction with growing amazement. In 4 years of high school events, no one had ever approached them like this. No parent had ever thought to include Amy in their family celebrations. The kindness of this stranger was almost overwhelming. "Are you sure about this?" Dr. Chen asked David quietly. "We don't want to intrude on your family time." David looked at her seriously. "Ma'am, my wife used to say that kindness isn't an intrusion, it's a gift. She passed away a couple years ago, but I try to remember that lesson." He turned back to Amy. "Besides, Tyler's busy with his friends right now, and honestly, you look like someone worth celebrating." Amy felt something shift in her chest. This man didn't know her at all, but he was offering her something she hadn't experienced in years. Inclusion without pity, celebration without obligation. She looked at Mia's eager face and David's genuine smile, and for the first time in a long time she felt like maybe she could belong somewhere, even if just for a few minutes. "Okay," Amy said, her voice stronger now. "I'd like that. I'd really like that." As David pulled out his phone to take pictures, Amy felt a spark of something she had almost forgotten existed. Hope that maybe, just maybe, There were still good people in the world who saw her as more than just a girl in a wheelchair. What started as a simple photo turned into something none of them expected. David had pulled out his phone, thinking they would take a quick picture and then go their separate ways. But as they stood together, Amy in her wheelchair, Mia beside her, David and Dr. Chen behind them, something magical happened. They started talking. "So what are you planning to study in college?" David asked Amy as he adjusted the camera angle. "Computer programming," Amy said, her eyes lighting up. "I want to create apps that help people with disabilities navigate the world better." "That's incredible," David said, genuinely impressed. Tyler's always been interested in computers too, but he's more on the gaming side. He wants to study game design. Amy's face brightened even more. "Really? That's so cool. What kind of games does he like to make?" Before David could answer, Tyler himself appeared at his dad's elbow, curious about who his family was talking to. "Hey, Dad. Mom Chen said we should head to the restaurant soon for lunch," he started. Then noticed Amy. "Oh, sorry, didn't realize you were talking to someone." "Tyler, this is Amy," David said. "She's going to study computer programming." "Amy, this is my son Tyler, the graduate." Tyler extended his hand toward Amy with a natural smile. "Hey, congratulations on graduating." "Programming, huh? That's awesome. I've been trying to learn some coding for game development, but it's harder than it looks." Amy shook his hand, surprised by how normal the interaction felt. "Thanks, and congrats to you too. What kind of games are you trying to make?" "Right now I'm working on this simple puzzle game, but I keep running into bugs with the scoring system," Tyler said, running a hand through his hair. "I watch YouTube tutorials, but sometimes I feel like I'm missing something basic." "Oh, I love solving coding problems," Amy said excitedly. "What programming language are you using?" As Tyler and Amy started diving into a detailed conversation about JavaScript and debugging techniques, Dr. Chen found herself standing next to David, both of them watching their children with amazement. "I haven't seen her this animated in months," Dr. Chen said quietly to David. "She's brilliant with computers, but she rarely gets to share that passion with anyone her age." David nodded, understanding completely. "Tyler's the same way. He talks my ear off about coding stuff that goes completely over my head. It's nice to see him finding someone who actually gets it." Mia, who had been listening to her brother and Amy's conversation with growing fascination, suddenly piped up. "You guys are like really smart. I barely understand how to use my tablet for anything besides games and videos." Amy laughed, a genuine, happy sound that made Dr. Chen's heart skip. "Don't worry, you're still young. And honestly, tablets can be pretty complicated. What kind of games do you like to play?" "I'm obsessed with this word puzzle game called Letter Link," Mia said. "But I always get stuck on the harder levels." "I know that game," Amy exclaimed. "I actually created a little helper program for it when I got frustrated with some of the impossible levels. It doesn't solve the puzzles for you, but it can give you hints about word patterns." Mia's eyes went wide. "You made a program for that? Could you show me sometime?" Amy looked at Dr. Chen, who was smiling and nodding encouragingly. "If your dad's okay with it, sure. It's actually a pretty simple program. I could even show you how I built it if you're interested." "That would be so cool," Mia said, bouncing slightly on her feet. David watched this interaction with growing warmth. In the span of 10 minutes, this girl had managed to connect with both of his children in ways that felt completely natural. Tyler was still peppering her with coding questions, and she was answering them with patience and enthusiasm. There was no awkwardness about her wheelchair, no forced politeness, just genuine interest and friendship forming in real time. "Amy," Tyler said suddenly, "what college are you going to?" "State University," Amy replied. "Starting in the fall." Tyler's face lit up. "No way, that's where I'm going to. I'm doing their game design program." "Really?" Amy said, her voice full of excitement. "That's amazing. We'll probably end up taking some of the same computer science classes." "Definitely," Tyler said. "Actually, they have this really cool maker space in the computer building where students can work on projects together. Maybe we could help each other out. You could help me debug my code, and I could help you test your accessibility apps." Amy felt something she hadn't experienced in years. The excitement of future plans that included another person. "I would love that," she said, meaning every word. Dr. Chen pulled out her own phone. "Would it be okay if I got your number, David?" I think the kids would enjoy staying in touch, and it would be wonderful for Amy to have a friend starting college. Of course, David said, pulling out his phone as well. And honestly, Tyler could use a study buddy who actually understands what he's talking about. As they exchanged contact information, Amy found herself looking around at this little group that had formed around her. For the first time in 4 years, she wasn't the odd one out. She wasn't the girl people felt sorry for or the smart kid people only talked to when they needed homework help. She was just Amy, a person with interesting ideas and useful skills who these nice people actually wanted to spend time with. "Hey," Tyler said, glancing at his friends who were still celebrating nearby. "My buddies and I were going to grab pizza after this. Nothing fancy, just hanging out. Would you want to come? I mean, if you don't have other plans." Amy's heart jumped. A real invitation to hang out with people her age. She looked at her mom, who was practically glowing with happiness. "I don't have any plans," Amy said. "I'd really like that." "Great," Tyler said. "Let me go tell the guys we're adding someone to the group. They're going to love meeting you." As Tyler jogged over to his friends, Amy turned to David with tears in her eyes. "Thank you," she said simply. "I don't know why you decided to come over here, but thank you." David knelt down so he was at her eye level. "Amy, I came over here thinking I was doing something nice for you, but honestly, I think you've done something nice for us too. Tyler's been nervous about starting college, and now he's got a friend who can help him succeed. Mia's got someone smart and patient who's willing to share her knowledge. And me?" He smiled. "I get to see my kids happy and excited about new friendships. That's the best graduation gift a parent could ask for." Dr. Chen watched this exchange with a full heart. She had spent years worrying about Amy's social life, years trying to figure out how to help her daughter connect with others. And here, in the span of 20 minutes, this kind stranger had given Amy something she had been searching for throughout all of high school: genuine acceptance and friendship. "David," Dr. Chen said, "I run a tech company and I've seen a lot of successful people over the years, but I think you might be the richest man I've ever met." David looked confused. "Rich, I'm just a mechanic," Dr. Chen smiled. "Rich in the things that actually matter. Your children are lucky to have you as a father." As Tyler returned with his group of friends, all of them eager to meet Amy and excited about the pizza plan, Amy felt something she had never experienced before on graduation day: pure, uncomplicated joy. This wasn't how she had pictured her graduation ending, but it was turning out to be so much better than anything she could have imagined. 2 weeks after graduation, Amy's life had changed in ways she never thought possible. Her phone, which used to stay silent for days except for messages from her mom, now buzzed regularly with texts from Tyler and Mia. Sometimes it was Tyler asking for help with a coding problem he was stuck on. Other times it was Mia sending her funny memes or asking about the college application process for when she got older. But the best part was that none of it felt forced or fake. These weren't pity friendships or people being nice because they felt sorry for her. Tyler genuinely valued her programming skills and often said her explanations were clearer than any tutorial he'd found online. Mia looked up to her like a big sister, asking for advice about everything from school projects to dealing with mean kids in her class. Amy found herself looking forward to checking her messages each morning. For the first time in her life, she was part of group chats where people actually wanted her opinions and included her in plans. When Tyler's friend group decided to have a gaming night, Tyler automatically asked if Amy wanted to join. When they planned a study session for their upcoming college placement tests, Amy was invited without question. The friendship had also brought unexpected changes to Dr. Chen's life. She and David had started talking regularly, first about their kids but eventually about everything else. They discovered they both enjoyed old movies, struggled with single parenting decisions, and shared similar values about raising kind, hardworking children. Dr. Chen had always been focused on her work, building her company from the ground up after Amy's father left when Amy was young. She rarely had time for adult friendships, and she definitely hadn't expected to find such easy companionship with a mechanic who lived on the other side of town. But David's wisdom and steady presence had become something she looked forward to. One evening, as they sat in David's backyard watching Tyler teach Amy how to use his 3D printer while Mia worked on homework nearby, Dr. Chen realized this was the most relaxed she had felt in years. "You know," she said to David, "I spent so much time worrying about Amy making friends that I forgot I needed them too." David smiled, watching his son and Amy troubleshoot a printing problem together. Rachel used to say that friends don't always come the way you expect them to. Sometimes the best ones show up when you're not even looking. Amy's confidence had grown tremendously over those 2 weeks. She had always been smart and capable, but she had spent years hiding those qualities because she was afraid of making others feel bad or standing out even more than she already did. With Tyler and his friends, she didn't have to hide anything. They appreciated her quick thinking and problem-solving abilities. They asked for her help genuinely and offered their own skills in return. Tyler was teaching her about game design principles and user experience, things she had never considered but found fascinating. His friend Alex, who was planning to study graphic design, was helping her create better visual presentations for her app ideas. Another friend, Jordan, who worked part-time at a tech store, was teaching her about hardware and helping her understand how software and hardware work together. For the first time in her life, Amy felt like she had a place in a community of peers who saw her as valuable just as she was. The change was especially noticeable to her teachers and family friends who had known Amy throughout high school. Mrs. Rodriguez, her computer science teacher, commented on how much more animated and confident Amy seemed when she came to pick up some final paperwork from school. "She's like a completely different person," Mrs. Rodriguez told Dr. Chen. "I always knew Amy was brilliant, but now she seems so much happier and more outgoing." "What changed?" Dr. Chen smiled, thinking about David's simple decision to walk over and introduce himself at graduation. "She found her people," she said simply. The transformation wasn't just about Amy, though. Tyler had been nervous about starting college, worried about whether he'd be smart enough for the program or if he'd be able to handle living away from home. Having Amy as a friend gave him confidence. She helped him prepare for his placement tests, and they spent hours talking about their hopes and fears for college. "I know I'm going to be okay now," Tyler told his dad one evening. "Amy's going to be there, and she's like the smartest person I know. Plus, she's already researching all the best study spots and resources on campus." Mia, too, had blossomed from the friendship. Having Amy as a mentor figure gave her someone to look up to who wasn't a parent or teacher. Amy encouraged Mia's interest in technology and patiently answered all her questions about how things worked. She also helped Mia with her math homework, explaining concepts in ways that made sense to an 11-year-old brain. "Amy makes everything seem possible," Mia told David one day. "She says being different isn't bad, it just means you have different strengths." The friendship had also created opportunities none of them had expected. Dr. Chen, impressed by Tyler's creativity and Amy's enthusiasm about collaborating with him, offered Tyler a summer internship at her company. It wasn't a big position, just helping with basic website updates and learning about how tech businesses operated, but it gave him real-world experience in spending money for college. David, meanwhile, had become Dr. Chen's go-to person for car troubles and maintenance for her company's small fleet of vehicles. It was a business relationship that made sense for both of them, but it also gave them more reasons to stay in touch and continue building their friendship. One Saturday afternoon, the two families decided to have a barbecue together. As David grilled burgers and Dr. Chen helped Mia with a science project, they watched Tyler and Amy working together on her latest app idea. Amy was coding while Tyler designed the user interface, and they were talking excitedly about how to make the app more intuitive for users with different types of disabilities. "Look at them," Dr. Chen said to David. 6 months ago, Amy spent most of her free time alone in her room. Now she's collaborating on projects and making plans for college. I can't believe how much has changed." David flipped a burger and smiled. Tyler's the same way. He used to worry about everything, especially about making new friends. Now he's excited about college, confident about his abilities, and planning projects with someone who challenges him to be better. "It's funny how one small moment can change everything," Dr. Chen said. "Rachel always said that kindness creates more kindness," David replied. "When you do something good for someone, it doesn't just help them. It spreads out and touches everyone around them." As they watched their children laugh together over some inside joke, both parents realized that David's decision to approach Amy at graduation hadn't just changed her day. It had changed all of their lives. Amy had found the friendship and acceptance she had always craved. Tyler had gained confidence in a study partner who made him excited about learning. Mia had found a mentor who encouraged her dreams. Dr. Chen had discovered that success in business was meaningless without people to share it with. and David had learned that even 2 years after losing his wife, there was still room in his heart for new friendships and connections. The ripple effect of that single act of kindness continued to spread, creating new possibilities and relationships that none of them could have imagined when they were just strangers sitting in different sections of a graduation ceremony. 6 months after graduation, Amy sat in the campus coffee shop at State University, her laptop open with lines of code flowing across the screen. She wasn't alone. Tyler was beside her, sketching character designs for their latest project, while 3 other students from their computer science study group worked on various assignments around the same table. "Hey, Amy, can you look at this function? I think I'm close, but something's not right," said Jessica, one of their classmates who had joined their study group after seeing how well Amy and Tyler worked together. Amy rolled her chair over to look at Jessica's screen. "Oh, I see the issue. You're missing a return statement here, and this loop condition needs to be adjusted." She pointed to the specific lines, explaining the fix in simple terms that made sense. "You're a lifesaver," Jessica said. "I would have been stuck on this for hours." Amy smiled, still getting used to being the person others came to for help. In high school, she had been smart but invisible. Here at college, she was smart and valued. The difference had changed everything about how she saw herself. Tyler looked up from his sketching. "Amy, what do you think about this character design for the accessibility tutorial game? I want to make sure it's not stereotypical or offensive." Amy studied his drawing, a friendly robot character designed to guide users through learning about assistive technology. "I love it. The robot idea is perfect because it removes any assumptions about human disabilities, and the design is really welcoming." Their collaboration had become something special over the past months. They had started with Tyler asking for coding help and Amy needing design advice, but it had evolved into a true partnership. Together, they were creating educational games that taught people about accessibility while being fun to play. The project had caught the attention of Dr. Williams, their computer science professor, who had connected them with a nonprofit organization working on digital inclusion. What started as a class assignment was now turning into something that might actually help people. "You two should seriously consider starting a business together after graduation," said Mike, another member of their study group. "Your ideas are brilliant, and you work together like you've been doing this for years." Amy and Tyler exchanged a look. They had talked about this possibility but hadn't mentioned it to anyone else yet. The idea of running a company together seemed both exciting and terrifying. "We're still learning," Amy said modestly. "But maybe someday," Tyler grinned. Amy's just being humble. She's already been contacted by 2 tech companies about summer internships, and she's only a freshman. Amy blushed. It was true. Her reputation for solving complex problems had spread quickly through the computer science department. But what made her proudest wasn't the internship offers. It was the fact that she had friends who celebrated her successes with genuine happiness. Back home, the friendship between the 2 families had continued to grow stronger. Dr. Chen and David had become close confidants, often meeting for coffee to discuss everything from parenting challenges to business decisions. David's practical wisdom had helped Dr. Chen navigate some difficult employee situations at her company, while her business expertise had helped him when he decided to open his own auto repair shop. Mia, now 12 and in 7th grade, had become Amy's biggest fan and unofficial little sister. She still texted Amy regularly, now asking for advice about middle school drama and sharing her own coding experiments. Amy had taught her basic programming over the summer, and Mia was already creating simple games and animations. "Amy says I should apply to the tech summer camp at the community college next year," Mia told her dad one evening. "She thinks I'm ready for it." David smiled, remembering when Mia had been intimidated by anything more complicated than playing games on her tablet. "If Amy thinks you're ready, then you probably are. She doesn't give out compliments lightly." "I know," Mia said proudly. "That's what makes her so cool. She tells you the truth, but she also believes in you." The relationship had brought unexpected professional benefits too. Dr. Chen's company had hired David's new auto shop for all their vehicle maintenance, appreciating his honest pricing and reliable work. David had also started teaching a basic car maintenance class at the community center, something Dr. Chen had encouraged him to do because she believed he was a natural teacher. "You explain things in ways people can understand," she had told him. That's a gift. One December evening, the two families gathered for their monthly dinner, a tradition that had started spontaneously and continued because everyone looked forward to it. Amy and Tyler were excitedly showing everyone their latest project, a mobile app designed to help restaurant servers communicate better with customers who had hearing impairments. The app translates spoken orders into text and allows customers to type responses that appear on the server's phone, Amy explained, demonstrating the interface, and it works both ways, Tyler added. Servers can type information about specials or questions, and it displays clearly for the customer. Dr. Chen watched her daughter present their work with confidence and enthusiasm. Amy's transformation over the past months had been remarkable. She spoke up in classes, participated in group projects, and had even joined the university's Disability Advocacy Committee. The shy, lonely girl from graduation day had blossomed into a confident young woman who knew her worth. This could really help a lot of people, Dr. Chen said. Have you thought about how to get it into actual restaurants? We're working on that, Tyler said. Amy's already contacted several local restaurants and 2 are interested in testing it. David shook his head in amazement. You kids are going to change the world. We're going to try, Amy said. But none of this would have happened if you hadn't walked over to talk to me at graduation. David looked around the table at these people who had become so important to his family. Amy, I think you've got that backwards. Walking over to you that day was the best decision I've made in years. Look at everything good that's come from it. As the evening wound down and they were getting ready to leave, Amy found herself thinking about how much had changed since that day in May. She had friends who valued her mind and enjoyed her company. She had projects she was passionate about and professors who respected her work. She had a little sister figure in Mia, and a second father figure in David. Most importantly, she had learned that belonging wasn't something she had to earn by being perfect or hiding her differences. It was something that happened naturally when you found the right people. People who saw your strengths and accepted your challenges without making either one the defining feature of who you were. Later that night, as she worked on homework in her dorm room, Amy got a text from Tyler. Great dinner tonight. Can't wait to see what adventures next semester brings. Amy smiled as she typed back. Me too. Thanks for being such a good friend. Thanks for being you, Tyler replied immediately. As Amy looked at the framed photo on her desk, the one David had insisted on taking at graduation, showing all of them laughing together, she realized that sometimes the most important moments in your life don't announce themselves with fanfare. Sometimes they start with something as simple as a stranger deciding to walk over and say hello. That one moment of kindness had changed not just her graduation day, but her entire future. And the best part was she could see now that it was just the beginning.